200? That is the number that really just jumped right out at me when I opened up this source file.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive amount of blog posts for one topic.
It really is. Welcome to the deep dive, by the way. Today we're looking at a blog entry titled Notes on Fishkeeping Part 200.
Part 200, yeah.
Right. It's from a site called kianmeng.org. And the author, Ang, he describes himself as an old software plumber.
Which is such a great phrase.
It is. And honestly, if you just saw the title, you might think, okay, it's a guy talking about his aquarium. Cute.
Right, like a basic hobby blog.
Exactly. But this isn't really just about fish, is it?
Not entirely, no. I mean, the fish are the medium, sure. But the real message here is about data. It's about iteration.
Yeah.
Because when you do something 200 times and you actually document it, you aren't just a hobbyist anymore. You're basically running a longitudinal study.
And that's the whole software plumber bit coming out.
Precisely. He's treating his fish tanks like a legacy code base. He's debugging a biological system.
Debugging an ecosystem. I love that.
And in this specific post, our source material today, he's doing a retrospective on the last 100 entries.
Okay.
He's looking at what features, or rather what species, to keep and which ones to deprecate.
Deprecate. See, that is a very polite, techie way of saying getting rid of them.
Or just, ceasing support. It's a pretty brutal assessment of what's working and what's failing.
So our mission today is to unpack that assessment. We're going to look at what I'm calling the Great Cichlid Shift.
A major pivot for him.
Huge pivot. We'll find out why some incredibly popular fish just got the axe. And we're going to see how he's engineering a self-cleaning ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the way he sets this up, it sounds less like a standard pet store setup and way more like a bioengineering lab.
It really does. And his findings, if you're used to traditional fish keeping, they're pretty surprising.
So let's just jump right into the data.
Yeah.
Looking at the last 100 posts, there is a very clear trend line. He is moving heavily toward one specific family of fish.
The cichlids.
The cichlids.
Right. And for anyone listening who thinks, oh, fish are just fish, this is actually a really significant choice.
How so?
Well, cichlids are very distinct. They are often aggressive, they're territorial, they're complex.
Okay.
They aren't your passive, floating community fish like a goldfish or a neon tetra. They have behaviors. They establish social hierarchies.
They're a bit more dynamic.
Very much so.
Well, he lists 3 specific types that have basically reignited the whole hobby for him.
Yep.
The Zebra Cichlid, the polar parrot cichlid, and the apistogramma.
Right.
So why these 3? Is it just because they look cool?
No, it's about the breeding report card. He is actively grading them on output.
Okay, output.
Take the Zebra Cichlid, for example. He calls their results excellent.
Which means babies.
Lots of fry, yes. Robust population growth. If we use his mindset, it's a system that compiles and runs without any errors.
Wow.
They are hardy, they breed, they populate the tank. If you are looking for a return on your investment of time and fish food,
The Zebra Cichlid is paying dividends.
exactly. It's a high-yield asset.
Okay, so that's the big success story. Then you have the polar parrot cichlids. He notes a moderate success there.
Right. They are stable, maybe not quite as prolific as the zebras.
Okay.
They are functioning code, but maybe a little slower, a little less optimized, but they still get a passing grade.
Got it. But then there's the third one, the apistogramma.
Ah, yes.
Now, if he's grading on output, this one seems like a complete fail to me. He says they have yet to produce any fry. 0.
Nothing.
So why keep them around?
This is what you might call the white whale scenario.
The white whale.
Yeah. He explicitly says they reignited his passion. Now, apistogrammas, people often just call them apistos. They're smaller. They're these colorful dwarf cichlids.
Oh, I've seen pictures of those.
They have huge personalities. And the fact that they aren't breeding, that is actually the hook for him.
Oh, it's a puzzle to solve.
Precisely. Think about it from the perspective of a software engineer. The code that runs perfectly the very first time.
It's boring.
It's totally boring. You deploy it and you move on. But the code that throws a mysterious error, that's the stuff that keeps you up at night.
You have to figure it out.
Right. He is trying to tweak the variables, the water parameters, the hiding spots, the diet, all to unlock that achievement.
That's fascinating. So the zebras are the reliable workhorses that make him feel competent, and the apistos are the passion project that keeps him humble.
That is a brilliant way to put it. You really need both in any long-term hobby.
Because if everything is too easy, you get bored.
And if everything fails, you just quit entirely. He's found that sweet spot.
But And this is where the software plumber thing gets real. He did not have this patience for everything. This part actually surprised me.
The rejection pile.
Yes. He is clearing house on some other species.
This is where his systems thinking gets pretty ruthless.
Right. So the biggest casualty here is the betta fish.
Yep.
And I feel like everyone I know has had a betta at some point. It's like the starter fish.
Yeah.
But he's saying, no more.
It sounds a bit harsh, but if you look at his reasoning, it's entirely environmental.
Okay.
He's shifting heavily towards outdoor setups, ponds, tubs on a balcony, things like that.
And bettas don't do well there.
Well, bettas are solitary, highly territorial fish. They just don't scale well in a communal pond setting. But honestly, the real deal breaker was the food.
Oh, right. He calls it a hassle in the post.
A significant hassle, yeah. He goes into the logistics of sourcing live food. He mentions kutu air.
What is that?
It's the local term for water fleas.
Okay.
Now, have you ever tried to source live water fleas consistently?
I can safely say that I have not.
Right. It's not exactly something you can just pick up at the corner grocery store every day. And then on top of that, there's the BBS.
BBS.
Baby brine shrimp.
Oh, I have heard of that. That's where you have to buy the eggs, put them in salt water, bubble them with an air pump.
It is a whole separate production line.
Oh, wow.
You are essentially running a miniature farm just to feed the farm.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. You have to aerate the water, keep the temperature exactly right, harvest them at the precise moment they hatch before they lose their nutritional value.
And you have to do this all the time.
Daily. If you miss a harvest, the fry starve. So for a guy looking for automation and stability...
That is a massive single point of failure.
Exactly. It's too high maintenance. It is technical debt.
That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
If the maintenance burden is higher than the joy you're actually getting from the fish, you have to cut it.
You do.
But wait, he actually says the only way he would ever go back to that specific headache is for a wild betta.
Which is very telling. He's basically saying, I will do the hard labor, but only for a high-value asset.
Right. A standard pet store betta,
Yeah.
the ROI just isn't there.
Not at all.
But a rare, wild-caught genetic line that's super hard to find, that might actually be worth setting up the shrimp hatchery again.
It's a strict cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah.
But he didn't just stop at bettas. He also dropped Gouramis and paradise fish.
Now that confused me. I thought paradise fish were supposed to be indestructible, like the cockroaches of the aquarium world.
Generally, yes, they are considered incredibly hardy. But hardy is relative to the environment.
Right.
Ang found them notably less hardy than the Cichlid in his specific outdoor setup.
Is that temperature thing then?
It's likely a mix. Temperature fluctuations, sure, but also water chemistry. Outdoor tubs swing way wilder than indoor glass tanks.
Because of the weather.
Exactly. It rains, the pH drops, the sun comes out, the temperature spikes.
Okay.
The Cichlids, specifically the ones he curated, are robust enough to handle that kind of variance. The Gouramis, though, they were crashing.
Crashing, just like bad software.
Exactly like bad software. If the environment is fundamentally unstable and the fish can't handle the instability.
You don't keep trying to patch the application.
No. You uninstall it and you find something more stable.
So he just uninstalled the Gouramis.
He did, though it's worth noting he says he might revisit them if he establishes a more stable growing environment later on.
Oh, so he knows it's an infrastructure problem on his end. It's not just a flaw in the fish.
Right.
I really love looking at fish keeping this way. It removes all the guilt and emotion and just looks at sheer compatibility.
It's very pragmatic.
It's not, oh no, I'm a terrible fish keeper. It's just my system specifications do not match this species' requirements.
And that shift in mindset, that is exactly what allows someone to keep going for 200 blog posts without burning out.
That's a great point. Okay, speaking of infrastructure, because a tank isn't just water and fish, it's a biological machine.
Very much so.
And Ang has clearly spent a ton of time optimizing the support system around the fish.
Right, which brings us to the ecosystem engineering part of the dive. He isn't just tossing random plants in because they look pretty.
No.
Every single biological element has a strict job description.
So let's start with the plant he focuses on, the Hydrocotyl vericillata.
Also known as Water Pennywort.
Pennywort. It looks like little miniature umbrellas growing right out of the water. Very architectural. And what exactly is its job in this machine?
Nitrate control.
Okay.
In any fish tank, waste breaks down into ammonia, then nitrates, then nitrates. If nitrates get too high, the fish gets stressed and die.
Right.
The pennywort is a rapid grower, which means it sucks up those nitrates aggressively to fuel its growth. It is acting as a natural chemical filter.
And he puts it in the upper containers.
Right.
Yes, he's creating a flow-through system.
Yeah.
The water flows through the dense plant roots, gets scrubbed of the excess chemicals, and then flows back down to the main tanks.
That's so smart.
But it actually does double duty. He mentions it provides a lush environment for his guppy colonies.
Wait, guppies? I thought we were talking about cichlids. Where do guppies fit into this architecture?
The guppies are the surface crew.
A surface crew.
He explicitly states they are invaluable for keeping the water surface clean.
Clean of what, exactly?
Biofilm. So in outdoor tubs, you often get this weird, oily slick that forms on the surface. Or sometimes mosquitoes lay eggs and you get insect larvae. The guppies are constantly patrolling that top layer, basically eating that scum and keeping the surface agitated.
So the pennywort filters the invisible chemical waste, and the guppies clean up the physical surface waste.
Exactly. And then for the bottom of the tank, he hired a specialist.
The Malaysian Pond Snail.
The radix spem, correct.
Now, I know a lot of aquarium owners actually treat snails as pests. Like, they see one snail and they completely panic. They try to eradicate them.
Oh, absolutely. They buy chemicals to kill them. But Aang deliberately selected this specific snail.
Interesting.
He considered other types, but chose the radix for its robust growth and its efficiency.
Efficiency at doing what?
Algae management and substrate maintenance.
Okay.
They churn the dirt at the very bottom, eating uneaten food, algae, and detritus.
Yeah.
They physically prevent the system from going septic.
Wow. So it's basically a janitorial staff that pays you in clean water.
It is pure automation. Think about it. If he has to go in and scrub algae off the tub by hand, the system is broken.
Right, because that's manual intervention.
Exactly. If the snail does it, the system is working perfectly. He has built a full stack here.
Vertical stack.
Snails at the bottom doing data cleanup, cichlids in the middle as the main application, guppies and pennywort at the top handling the front-end filtration.
It really is a software architecture. You've got your database layer, the back-end logic, the front-end interface.
It's a beautifully closed-loop system designed to completely minimize user intervention.
Which frees him up to actually enjoy the hobby rather than just being a slave to maintaining it.
Exactly.
So he has the system dialed in now. He has the species he likes. The maintenance is automated. What's next? What does the roadmap actually look like for his next 100 posts?
Well, the next phase is scaling.
Scaling up.
Yeah. He wants to explore a much wider variety of cichlid species. The proof of concept works. Cichlids clearly thrive in his outdoor setup. Now he just wants to expand the feature set.
Makes sense.
But he is hitting a bit of a supply chain issue.
Oh, you can't find the fish.
He can't find quality breeding pairs. And this is where the digital world heavily bumps into the real physical world. You can't just download a fish from a GitHub repository.
Right. You actually have to go out and find it in the real world.
And that is leading him back to what he calls field trips.
Yes. I really like this part of the post. He talks about visiting local fish stores and small farms again. He mentions specifically that this was a habit he entirely lost during the pandemic.
It's the human element re-entering the equation.
Yeah.
For a long time, he has basically been the solitary coder, just working on his own machine in his backyard. But to get the new source code, the new genetics, the rare species, he has to reconnect with the wider network.
He has to go talk to people.
He has to talk to the shop owners. He has to actually dig through the tanks at these small family-run farms.
There is something really nostalgic about that. Just the hunt of it. Going to a physical place, peering into a dozen glass tanks, trying to spot that one specific fish that looks healthy and vibrant.
And don't forget the knowledge transfer. You learn things standing in a humid, busty little fish shop that you will never find on a Reddit forum.
So true.
You talk to the old guy who bred them, and he tells you, oh, that specific species, they only breed if you drop the temperature by 2 degrees at night.
That hyper-specific local knowledge.
Exactly. That is the kind of data you just can't scrape from a website.
It's tribal knowledge.
Yes. And Aang seems genuinely excited to get back to that. It's a really nice counterpoint to his whole software plumber persona.
Yeah, he's realizing that you can't automate everything. Sometimes you just have to show up in person.
You really do.
You know, looking back at this entire post, there was one sentence right near the start that really stuck with me.
Which one?
He said, "Had I documented every insight since we first dived into fish keeping many years ago, I would likely have recorded thousands of notes by now."
Ah, yes. The classic regret of the data analyst.
It really is. He's comparing his fish keeping logs to his gardening progress. which is another whole series he writes.
Right, he tracks his plants just as rigorously.
Yeah. But he's realizing just how much data he lost simply by not writing it down in those early years.
It makes you think, doesn't it? We all have hobbies. We all do things every single day. We cook, we run, we play video games, we garden.
Sure.
But how often do we actually track what we are doing?
Almost never.
Yeah.
I mean, I cook dinner almost every night, but I don't keep a logbook of exactly what spices I used or what the oven temperature was, and then give it a rating out of 10.
And that right there is the fundamental difference between just having experience and actually developing expertise.
Okay, unpack that a little.
Well, experience is just letting time pass while you do a thing. You cook for 10 years, you have 10 years of experience.
Right.
But expertise is analyzing that time. By writing these 200 posts, Aang turned a passive, relaxing hobby into a searchable database.
Wow, yeah.
He can look back and definitively say, variable X caused outcome Y. Without the notes, it's just this vague, fuzzy memory of, oh, I think I used to have gouramis and they all died.
That is so true. With the notes, he knows exactly why they died. It wasn't just bad luck. It was the specific environmental parameters of his outdoor tubs.
Exactly.
And because he has that data, he can make vastly better decisions now. He saves time and money by not buying betas.
Yep.
And he gets the joy of successfully breeding the zebras because he already knows what works.
The rigor actually makes the hobby more fun, not less.
That's counterintuitive, but it makes sense.
It really removes the frustration of blind failure. When you track it, a failure isn't a disaster, it's just a data point.
The data point.
The epistogramma not breeding, that isn't a personal failure for Aang, it's just a bug in the system he hasn't fixed yet.
That is a very, very healthy way to look at, well, almost anything in life, really.
It is. It completely depersonalizes the problem.
So here's the thought I really want to leave you all with today. Aang is an old software plumber managing fish. But if you think about it, we are all managing systems.
Every single day.
Maybe it's your diet, maybe it's your household budget, maybe it's how you manage your freelance clients, whatever it is.
So what would happen if you started a logbook today? Just entry 001.
Exactly. What patterns would you see by entry 05 the day that you are completely, utterly blind to right now?
Oh, the things you'd find.
What features of your life would you realize you just need to deprecate because they're way too high maintenance?
And what ecosystem changes could you make to automate the messy parts? Maybe you need a snail in your life.
A snail. I love that.
You know, something or someone to handle the tedious cleanup so you can just focus on the big picture.
Find your snail. Start your logbook. It is never too late to start documenting the journey. Thank you for diving in with us on this one.
It's been a pleasure as always.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.